going on, everyone? My name's Mark and this is Mako Reselling. I buy things from places, I buy clothes mainly from places like thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, resell them for a higher amount on marketplaces like eBay. And in today's video, I've got a good topic here. It's called Trash Brands, Easy Money. Now, a lot of times you go into thrift stores, you see brands that are not good, but there's actually items, styles, pieces that can do pretty well and fetch you some good money. Now, even more important with this topic, which I think is really important, is a lot of people go out and they just look for specific tags, specific brands, and they miss this. So these are things that you can find, and knowing these little nuances in the marketplace when you're out at thrift stores, garage sales, it can definitely make you some pretty good money. So let's go ahead, let's get started. I've got 5 items for you today, and there'll be more videos like this in the future too. All right, our first brand here, not a good one, St. John's Bay. Can you actually find anything over $30 with this brand? St. John's Bay is a JCPenney brand, so you know that it's not very high quality, but there actually are a few things that can sell in that 30 to 50 range. One thing that can sell are overalls, denim overalls. Another thing that can sell are vintage bomber jackets, vintage sweaters too, if they've got a funky pattern. I found some that would sell over $30 to $50. It is pretty interesting, you know, sometimes with the styles and how much they can command. That said, I don't think a lot of people, or I know a lot of people are not looking for this brand, but sometimes the style, the rarity can help. And St. John's Bay might be able to get you a little bit of money, but of course, like all things on this list, proceed with caution. Now, what about Gap? Gap is a mall brand. I'm sure everyone's familiar with it. Lots of stuff out there. And there's quite a bit that can actually go in that 30 to 50 range, and even some things that can go 80 and up. Now, they have something called a YZY hooded sweatshirt that's very desirable, and it's something definitely to be on the lookout for. I will flash a picture of one on the screen. There's also quite a bit of vintage stuff, vintage Gap, so get to know that tag. And not only just things like sweaters and things like that, but also like cargo pants, cargo shorts, of course. Camo would be great. I found some cargo shorts from Gap. I think they had ripstop. They were pretty rare, and the prices were going in like the 30 to 40 range, if I recall correctly. So Gap is definitely one thing where if you find some Y2K stuff or some 90s vintage stuff, it can definitely sell well, and a lot of people are just going to skip over the Gap. Okay, another mall brand here, American Eagle. Now, American Eagle, I think there's basically 2 things you need to remember. There's, first of all, going to be a jeans brand. It is a women's brand. It's called the Next Level. It's a flare cut, and those sell very well. In regards to what else sells from American Eagle, it's pretty easy. Just outerwear, you're going to want to be looking for, you know, barn jacket, chore jackets, really anything substantial. Also, any sort of like heavy pants or anything, cargo pants, camo especially, those are going to sell pretty well for American Eagle as well. Of course, always want to be looking out for vintage. That's going to help you out there and get you over $30. Lots of people, like all these brands, will be skipping over, not looking for American Eagle. Okay, what about Joseph A. Blank? Now, Joseph A. Bank. Now, a lot of their stuff that goes over $30, it's going to be blazers and like suits. But stuff like that I would be very careful with, because every time I look through the blazer section, I find multiple Joseph A. Bank blazers, and the market is definitely saturated with that. So I would not recommend buying that unless you, of course, find some sort of nice material like linen or cashmere or some sort of maybe like silk linen blend or something like that. That said, there are some good options with Joseph A. Bank that will get you $30 and up. One is called a Madras, hopefully I'm saying this correctly, Madras plaid pants. Those go around $50, which is really nice. Of course, I think that something like this is going to get picked off pretty quickly by people in a thrift store just because it's kind of loud. It definitely sticks out. A better option, I think, would probably be tuxedo pants. Their tuxedo pants sell really well, and you just need to look for that satin stripe on the side. A lot of people, black pants, most people are just going to skip right over, especially if they see Joseph A. Bank, not pay attention, not really know what they are. But tuxedo pants are definitely one thing that you can get from this brand that'll sell good, definitely over $30. Now, our last brand here, I don't know that it's necessarily what I would call a garbage or terrible brand. It's Redhead. I actually kind of like some of their stuff. And I recently picked up something called like a camo bone dry pants. And these definitely are an item that can sell over $30. I only sold mine, I think, for like 24 or 25. I sold it on an offer, but it sold very quickly. And a lot of the comps for that were going in the low 30 range. Redhead's something that I find quite a bit in the bins, in the pants, other things like that. So it's something where if you find some good camo outerwear, it can definitely go well. It can go in that 30 to 50 range and sell pretty good. Look for things like waterproof, like of course the Bone Dry is the line that's waterproof as well. Also look for other types of like outerwear with Redhead, and you can get into that 30 to 50 range with them. As people are buying it. Lots of people don't really care about the condition too much. So if there's, a stain or something like that, or, you don't really have to worry too much with that. A lot of the Redhead stuff also, it's kind of very nice. Like I remember the Bone Dry pants, they had all these pockets and zippers everywhere, convertible and things like that. So be on the lookout for stuff like that to help push that price up and get into that 30 to 50 range. All right, so that's all I got for today. Let me know any comments, thoughts you have in terms of, any other trash brands, great products. I'm going to be doing more videos like this. I really like doing the research and seeing what, with some of these terrible brands, what things actually sell and can make decent money. Now, 30 isn't, out of this world crazy, but if you're buying something for $5 or less, then you're looking at a $20 plus profit. So it's definitely that kind of thing can add up. And even better, you're not really facing the competition you're going to face with other items. Things like Cool Pants, Dixon flannels, people are going to pick those up immediately right off the new rack. Lots of times people are just not going to bother with some of these bad brands. They're not going to understand the style, what actually goes for the brand, the vintage stuff. So appreciate you watching. Thanks. Do all that YouTube stuff. Subscribe, like, comment. Thanks.